Hello everyone. In this video, I want to go through the remote project submission process for submitting your projects on the Onyx server. This video is going to walk through how to do that on macOS. If you are running on Windows, check out the video on Windows. What I have set up so far is a project in Eclipse. So this video assumes that you're probably in 121, 221, or 321 working on Java projects using Eclipse, but you can use the same process for any class. All you have to know how to do is find the files on your computer that you've been working on. So in Eclipse, I have Project 0 inside my default package. I just have a simple Hello World program. I also have a README file, and these are the two files that I've been working on my own machine on Eclipse, and I want to somehow copy them over to Onyx so that I can run the submit command provided by my instructor. I find that the easiest way to locate the files on my computer from Eclipse is to right-click on the project name and go to Properties, and it will actually tell you the location under the Resource tab. So right here I can see that this file on my computer is located at /users/Marissa/Eclipse workspace-demo/p0-hello world. So you could either navigate to that from the Finder, or if you click on this button, it will actually open it from the Finder right here. So if I go here, I can see my .class file because Eclipse generates that, my .java file, and my README file. So our goal now, since we've been working on our own machine, is to copy these files over to the Onyx server. And there's two different ways you can do this. You can either use the terminal that is built into the Mac, or you can download a graphical application. In this example, I'm going to use CyberDuck. Since most students in 121 would prefer to use a graphical interface, I'm going to start with that process. So this assumes that you already have CyberDuck installed, and you can download that if I just search for CyberDuck, it's cyberduck.io. And I click on it. You can pay for it, but you don't have to. So you can download it right over here. So I'll let you go through that process, get that up on your machine. Once you have it installed, you would want to launch the application. So when I launch the application on my machine, I see this interface right here. What I want to do to start is open a new connection. So I want to connect from my computer to the Onyx server. And I'm going to use the SSH file transfer protocol called SFTP because we're going to connect to Onyx via SSH. The server, you put in onyx.boisestate.edu. That is the Onyx server. We are going to connect over port 22. And for your username and password, you're going to put in your Boise State credentials, the same credentials that you would use to log in when you're physically sitting at one of the machines. So my username is Marissa Schmidt. I'll enter my password and click connect. So it's going to say unknown fingerprint is sent by the server. That's fine. We want to allow this. It usually just happens the first time that you connect. And now I can see all of my files on Onyx from my local machine. So I have a CS121 folder on my Onyx account. I have different Eclipse workspaces for the different semesters, all that stuff. Okay, so then what you would want to do is create a project submission folder on Onyx. So you may already have a folder structure. So for me, let's just say that this class that I'm submitting for is called CS100. I don't want to use my 121 one because I already have things in there. So I'm going to do new folder, and I'm going to call this CS100. This is just a hypothetical course. Create. Inside of my CS100 directory, I want to create a P0 folder. I'm going to create a new folder called P0. And this folder is where I want to place all of the files that I want to submit to my instructor. So what's nice about CyberDuck is that I can just drag and drop from my host machine, my Mac, over to Onyx. So if I drop this over here, there was a message, unknown fingerprint. I'm going to click always because we'll allow it. So copy my Java file over, and then I also want to copy my README file. Perfect. So now that all of my files are on Onyx, I want to open up a terminal so that I can submit using the submit command provided by my instructor. From CyberDuck, I can open a terminal from the folder that I'm already in this view right here, by going up to the Go option in the menu and choose Open in Terminal. And you can see it's going to run the SSH command from the command prompt and pass in all the information for you. You could also do this manually, but just for those who just want a simple, straightforward process. Now I can see that I'm Marissa Schmidt at Onyx, at Onyx, and I'm in the P0 folder already. If I type ls, I should be able to see my Java program and my README file in here. I would recommend for all classes, after you copy your files over, test them to make sure that they work. So I'm going to compile javac hello world.java. Awesome, it still compiles Java hello world and run it. Perfect, my output looks correct, so I know that the files were successfully copied. And then I will cat my README, which cat just means print out the contents, to make sure that the contents of the README actually got copied over. Sometimes if there's intermittent network, I've seen that students copy over their files and for some reason it copied a blank file. So this is just a check to make sure something funny didn't happen. After you compile, you want to remove any of the files that your instructor does not want. So usually in 121, 221, we don't want the .class files. So I'm going to say rm space star.class just to remove all the class files, y for yes, ls. Perfect. So now my goal is to run the submit command provided by my instructor. The submit command provided by the instructor for this hypothetical project is submit space Marissa Schmidt space CS121 space P0. So I want to copy that command exactly as shown by my instructor. We have to use the correct casing. We have to put spaces where spaces are shown and no spaces where there are no spaces. This is the most common mistake that I'll see when people get to the submit process and the submit fails, is that there is something wrong with the command that you enter. So over here, if I submit space Marissa Schmidt space CS121 space P0, I hit enter, it'll say, right now this program is collecting the following directory, make sure it's the right one, press enter to continue. What you need to see is that the submission of the programming assignment PX, or whatever the program name was, is now complete. You will be informed of your grade after the deadline via email. I would recommend taking a screenshot of this just in case for some reason it does not go through, but you need to make absolute sure that it says complete, not failure. So an example of a failure would be if I put a capital P for P0 and hit enter, it would say error while creating your submission archive. Your submission did not succeed. The tar command failed. Contact your instructor. Before contacting your instructor, double check that the command is entered correctly, because I would say 9 out of 10 times that is going to be the error. All right, so that is it for the process of submitting using CyberDuck. Now I want to show you how you can submit the project just using the built-in terminal in Mac. So to find the terminal in Mac, I usually just go to the search and type in terminal and choose the application that way. And the commands for this terminal, if you haven't had a chance to use it yet, are similar to the commands on Onyx. So I still have ls, I still have cd, rm, all those commands. Our first goal is to navigate to the project folder on our local Mac machine. And that location, remember, we could find in Eclipse right here. So I can say cd and actually copy this URL here or type it in manually, whichever you prefer, and hit enter. So now on my local computer, I am inside of my Eclipse folder. We want to use the scp command, it's a secure copy command, to copy the files from our Mac machine over to Onyx. So the syntax of that command looks like this. I can say scp, the names of the files that I want to copy. So hello-world.java space readme, because I'm copying 2. So it can be a list separated by spaces. And then I want to type in the target destination on Onyx. So it's going to be your Onyx username or your BSU username, in my case, Marissa Schmidt, at onyx.boisestate.edu, and then the path to where you want to put these files on the machine. So this shows us, hey, well, where do I actually want to put these on the machine? So maybe this is not the first step. First, let's connect to Onyx and create the correct folder. To connect to Onyx, we can use SSH. So SSH, I like to do -y so that I can launch graphical programs if I want to, though it will be very slow, so I typically try to avoid launching graphical applications. But it would be SSH -y, Marissa Schmidt at onyx.boisestate.edu. So this is going to be your Onyx username or your Boise State username. Hit enter. Mine did not ask me for the password because I just have my password set up using the SSH keys. But yours will ask you for your password. You'll type in your password, hit enter, and it should log you in. So now I can tell that I'm connected to Onyx because it's my username at Onyx. So if I type ls, I can see all of my files that are located on Onyx. I'm going to put my files in the CS100 folder because that's my hypothetical course folder. Yours might be CS121, CS221. So if I cd CS100, in this folder, I want to create a project folder to put all of my files in. So I'm going to use makedir p0 ls. Then I want to cd into that folder, and I should see that currently there are no files in that folder because I haven't put anything in here yet. So now that that folder exists, I can copy my files. On Mac, if you want to open a new tab so that you don't have to exit this connection, you can do Command-T and it'll pop open another tab. So now I have one of my tabs is connected to Onyx. My other tab is on my local machine. So if I type ls, I am still inside of my project folder in Eclipse. So now I can copy, like we talked about a minute ago, I can copy my .java file and my README file into my P0 folder on Onyx. The command to do that is scp hello-world.java space readme, and then the destination. So it's scp, a list of files that you want to copy, followed by Marissa Schmidt at onyx.boisestate.edu, and then the path on Onyx that you want to copy the files into. So the path on Onyx for me would be, if I type pwd, I can find it. It's going to be /home/Marissa Schmidt /CS100/P0. After the colon, I just have to put the portion after my username because that's my home directory, or I could put the full path. Why don't I just show you putting the full path? That way you can use this tool pwd to always find the right spot. Now if I hit enter, it'll say hello-world.java, readme, and it will list out all the files that were copied over. So now if I go back into Onyx, if I type ls, I can see that hello-world.java and readme are now on Onyx in the folder P0. So just like you would want to do with the GUI version or the graphical version of submitting, I want to compile, I want to run, just to make sure everything looks good. Perfect. I want to cat my README to make sure it looks good. There's contents in there, so it does. And then clean up any .class files that were generated. And then from the console, you would run the submit command as given to you by your instructor. So super important. I can't emphasize that enough. Make sure to use the submit command given to you by your instructor. In this case, my submit command is submit Marissa Schmidt CS121 P0. And it does say it's complete, so it looks good. And that is it for submitting on Onyx. You can either use CyberDuck to copy your files over, or you can use the SCP command from the command prompt, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. And good luck, and if you have any issues, reach out to your instructor or the tutors, LAs, or graduate assistants for your course. We're happy to help.